I'm going to direct you to something that, again, I think it was very powerful. So I'm going to go right to it. He wrote you a letter when he was in jail for rape. There was one part in that letter that was amazingly powerful, but at the same time, you just mentioned he's a paradox, and he is. I think it's a very fair way to put it. There's a paradox to him. Um, it was very powerful, but very concerning. Tell us about that letter, Jim, because this is something that obviously our fans have never heard.
I got a letter from Mike when he was in jail, and Mike had never been to my home, and we were living in Atlanta at the time. My wife worked for the Atlanta Olympics, and so I got this letter in the mail, and it was open. It had come from the Indiana penitentiary system, and I had later come to find out that they open all of the inmates' mail before it goes out to make sure that what's being sent out, I guess, meets their standard of what's okay to send to somebody. So it was open. It was a 5-page letter. I don't know how he knew where I lived. I don't know how he got the address. And I don't really know why he had written it at that time. I had not corresponded with him. Okay, I had not written to him. So I had sent through Don King a couple of times, just my best wishes. I hope he's getting through this. And, I hope that this time is serving him, so that he can, become a better person. And I got this letter, and it got to the second page, and there was a paragraph in there that said, "Mr. Gray, they will kill my number tomorrow." And number in prison lingo, I come to find out, means that they will do away with this sentence. They will kill my number tomorrow, do away with my sentence, if I admit to this rape. However, I will never admit to something I did not do, and therefore I'm not going to admit to something like this. Next paragraph. However, there are 4 or 5 other things that I've done throughout the course of my life that are worse than what I'm accused of. Therefore, I feel I'm at the right place at this time.
Wow.
So that really, wow, opened my eyes. And I wasn't there that night in Indianapolis, so I don't know what happened. But Mike has always maintained his innocence. And he has always said he didn't do that. So when he got out of jail, he allowed me to do an interview with him. And I asked him, "Mike, can I repeat this letter? Can I ask you the contents from this letter on the air? Or is this personal? If it's personal, I'm going to respect that. No problem." So he said, "Mr. Gray, you can ask me whatever you want." And he always called me Mr. Gray, even though, we're virtually the same age. I'm a little older, a few years older, 6 years older. He said, "No, go ahead and ask me." So I asked him that question. I don't need to repeat it all. I said, what's worse than what you're accused of?" Well, he looked at me, and he looked over at his lawyer, that guy from Indiana or Nevada. I can't remember his name. Gosh, I'll remember it in a minute. And then he looked back at me, and he said, "It's probably best not to answer this on national television because I don't know the statute of limitations. However, what I wrote you is true."
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's no statute of limitations for murder. Just saying.
Oh,
Um,
I can't imagine that's what it was, but I'm not
no,
quite
no.
sure
I'm
what it was
just
referring
I'm
to.
I'm just staying within a corridor of where we are. That we don't know what it was, but
I
the
asked him about this, Teddy. I did an interview with him just recently, which is going to air on Fox on November 15th at 10 p.m. They're doing a special on Talking to Goats, the book. And uh, Mike is one of the people that I interviewed. I said, when you said that to me, or you wrote that to me, you never disclosed what it was. I said, "Why did you put that down?" He said, I just felt I wanted to say that, and it was a real dark time and dark place in my life."
and listen, he was being honest. He has an impish. I think that sounds like a crazy word to use with a guy who's been so destructive and so scary for so long, but almost a kid like. Would you agree with this, Jim? Almost an impish kid like way about him at times, like a vulnerability when where he lets his guard down, and almost like somebody who's crying out to be liked, to be cared about, to be, maybe to be forgiven.
That may be, and I think he's reached out to you and a lot of folks. But I also believe that Mike, through it all, like we discussed a little earlier, but I didn't put this assessment on it. He's one of the very few forthright and honest people in sports.